Our next speaker is Mike Beitler. Mike has a PhD in business and is a professor at UNCG. He is also the host of a radio show called Free Markets on Voice of America, which airs Thursday morning at 10 a.m., and he is a former candidate for U.S. Senate. Please give a round of applause to Mike Beitler.
Anybody here in favor of a smaller government? I got the right group. In 2008, the mainstream media declared the death of the Republican Party. The Republicans, not the Democrats, had doubled the size of government and doubled the national debt. The American people, understandably, threw the GOP out of office. As a lifelong Republican, I was embarrassed and frustrated. I wrote my book, Rational Individualism, which, like F.A. Hayek's book, The Road to Serfdom, talks about creeping socialism. Kevin brought up some copies of the book, if you would like a free copy of that sometime today. I joined the Libertarian Party, and in September of 2009, I announced my candidacy for the United States Senate. 6 weeks before the November 2010 election, my father, a lifelong Republican, passed away. One of the last things he said to me was, "Mike, you need to send a wake-up call to the Republican Party." Well, I didn't send the wake-up call. You sent the wake-up call. You Tea Party patriots sent the wake-up call in 2010. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. You deserve it. In November 2010, the GOP took back the United States House of Representatives. Then the mainstream media quickly declared the death of the Tea Party movement. Well, we have news for the socialist on the left. As one of the singers used to say in my father's generation, you ain't seen nothing yet. In December, I returned to the Republican Party. I never left the Tea Party movement. And I saw a renewed spirit in the GOP, one committed to the Constitution. Over the next year and a half, we in the Tea Party movement need to work to restore the Constitution throughout the GOP. And then we need to take back the U.S. Senate, the White House, and we need to throw Bev Perdue out of the governor's mansion. I got the right group. How are we going to accomplish this? We must monitor our representatives, Republicans as well as Democrats, and we must educate the American voters. Anthony Gregory was on my Free Markets radio show, and in the middle of one of my rants about the federal government, he interrupted me and said, "Mike, I don't blame the government." Well, I was stunned. He went on to say, "Mike, I don't blame the government. I don't blame the politicians. I don't blame the bureaucrats. I blame the American people." Ooh, that stung. But Anthony was right. It is up to the American people, and in particular, it's up to you Tea Party patriots to educate the American voters. In 2010, you Tea Party patriots won some important battles. But let me say, the socialists on the left are not about to surrender. This is an ongoing war. When I announced my candidacy for the United States Senate in September of 2009, I said the national debt of over $11 trillion was unacceptable. Does anybody know what the national debt is now? 14. 14.3. Let me point out that 0.3 is $300 billion in interest-bearing debt. That's a lot of money for somebody to have to pay. And I want to add to that, as a retired CPA and a former chief financial officer from banking, there's $100 trillion in off-balance sheet commitments, unfunded liabilities that haven't been made. I see some of you nodding your head. 14.3 trillion plus 100 trillion. Who's going to be responsible for that? Raise your hands. You taxpayers. I'm concerned especially for the burden that this is going to put on the younger generation. You younger folks are going to be paying for this throughout your career. During the campaign in 2010, I had a chance to speak to a number of university and colleges, and I will never forget standing in front of a group at Wake Forest University. I stood there and I looked out over a sea of young faces, 21 years old, 22 years old at the most, and I felt guilty. I pushed my prepared notes to the side, and I looked at them and I said, on behalf of the baby boomers, I want to apologize for the shameful legacy of debt that we're leaving to your generation. I should follow that up by saying the students sitting in the front row who had invited me, they all looked at me and said, "Oh, Dr. Beitler, it's not your fault." Well, I appreciate that they weren't putting it all on me. But I do feel responsibility as part of the baby boom generation. I have a debt that I owe to the next generation and the one after that. It's the reason I ran for office in 2010, and it's the reason I will consider running again. It's a debt that I owe. April 15. I agree with that. Nice timing. April 15. What comes to your mind when I say April 15? Taxes. Anybody here think our tax system is fair? Okay, I got the right group. I'm getting there. America was founded on self-responsibility, hard work, and thrift. Yet our tax system penalizes hard work and thrift. The harder you work, the more taxes you pay. The more money you save, the more taxes you pay. America needs hard work and savings. It is time to abolish the income tax. And while we're at it, let's abolish the Internal Revenue Service. I definitely have the right group. There is an alternative. Yes, you can talk to my friends at the fair tax table back there. Now, I don't have time to go into the fair tax today, but my friends back there have the information you need on that. We need a fair system in the United States. Self-responsibility, hard work, and savings are things that we should encourage. Our future literally depends upon it. In conclusion, let me say, it is our responsibility in the Tea Party movement to educate the American voters and to restore the Constitution throughout our land. I am looking forward to working with you as a candidate or as a concerned citizen to win back America in 2012. God bless all of you, and God bless America.